Good afternoon, folks. The old cougar here. This is a guide to beginning World of Tank Blitz in Tier 1. Now, if I pause it here, I'm just going to pause it for a specific reason. If you look to the left hand side of the screen, you'll see a tank, the M2 Light, which again is another Tier 1, and there's no camouflage on the tank. Excuse me. The chances are that that player will not have reached level 4 or level 5, tier 4 or tier 5 in his tanks yet. He hasn't put camouflage on them. If you look at the tank I'm in, it has camouflage on it. It's an old spider web camouflage from one of the Halloween events that you could buy. But you will start off in tier 1 with no camouflage available to buy or put on your tank. The reason for that is you start off in tier 1 after your basic tutorial showing you how to move the tank, how to aim the gun, and what the best way to hit and damage the tanks are when you get to your tutorial part where it shows you have to flank to hit the sides because you can't penetrate the front. After you've done that basic move in the tutorial, you are left to your own devices. That's the tutorial finished. Shows you how to move, how to aim, how to zoom in or scope in, and when to flank and where to hit the tank when it's not showing red. When the tanks show red, it's difficult to penetrate them. When it's showing just ordinary grey or ordinary green colour, then you should be able to penetrate if you hit them side on and you hit them square on. If you hit it at an angle, like the tank's not sitting straight side on at you or not straight front on at you and it's sitting at a slight angle, the chances are your round will bounce off the tank. Similarly, when someone shoots at you and they fire, you will see a black arrow circle above you with a number in it, a figure in it, whether it be 12, 20, 40, whatever. That means that the shell bounced off your tank. When it shows red, it shows that they've actually hit your tank and penetrated your armour and caused the value in the red circle damage off your tank. So if your tank starts with 250 and you get hit for 40, then your health points will be 210. Basic maths. If you've got 210 left and he hits you with another 5 or 6 shots, he will kill you. That's your health points gone. Your green bar at the bottom shows what health you've got left, and every time you get hit and it shows red, it will be reduced by that value until you've got nothing left. That's not covered in the tutorial. Let's play on and I'll go into another little tip here. Now, as you can see, we're on the map called Fort Despair. This is one of the 2 maps that you'll play while you're in your first battles in Tier 1. You'll play this map and you'll play another map called Mines. I'm just going to pause it here again for another reason. You see how the screen has went sort of opaque, transparent. That is because I'm sitting behind a bush, soft cover. There is hard cover, which is your rocks, your buildings, your walls, etc. You can't shoot through them. You can shoot through bushes and trees. That tree to the front hand, right hand side of me, just behind the old truck. You can knock the tree down if you just nudge against it. But don't drive through it, because you can use the foliage, the trees and the branches, as you can do bushes, as cover. But it is soft cover. You can shoot through it, and so can the enemy. But let's go on a little bit further, and I'll pause it again when it comes to the point. Trying to spot the tanks up coming here, looking round about, there's nothing here. I'm still behind the bush. I'm still watching. There you go, there's a red tank showing up. Now he can't see me because I'm behind cover. I can shoot, and because I'm behind cover, it won't show up where I am because he's too far away. He's showing 65 meters as to where I'm pointing. Where the reticle is showing 65 meters distance away. Where the tank is, if you watch the meterage, that's figure on your right hand side, will go up. See, 210 meters. His view range cannot see me. Now, as you'll hear the message, that didn't go through because it was too far away and the velocity of the shell didn't penetrate. Plus, it hit a hard area of the tank, so that didn't penetrate. Let's play on and see what happens. Now, as I said, you'll start off in Tier 1, and this is a beginner's guide. There's a lot of beginner's guides, and some of them cover points that I won't cover in this first one. Now, over in that bush, you see the light bulbs just came on? I was sitting in the open. I had no cover. Now, the reason for that being is, behind the trees that are directly in front of where I am now, over behind the castle ruins, there will be enemy tanks sitting. Now, I can't see them because they're behind the bush. You can fire, and what's called a blind shot, and you might highlight where the target is. But I know that there's tanks there because I've been lit up. Now, it must be something with a decent range because according to that, it will be roughly about 250 meters away. So we'll play on and see what happens and see where they show up. Excuse me. Now, that circle in front of this is the base circle. When you go in that, base capture, figure above the tanks starts to go up. Now, there's a shot there that you seen was showing black circle. He hit me but it bounced, it didn't penetrate. I didn't penetrate it because it hit the red area of the tank. See the red area? Now there's a black area, and above it is another one. It bounced off because he was sitting at an angle. The squarer you can hit the tank, you will get the opportunity to shoot through it. There. Right, now he hit me for 13 as well, but he's coming forward now. You see the tank is coming, the M2 light has a red bar that is more black than red. It's because he has 47 health points left. If you hit an average of 40 damage per round, that means he would have 7 health points left, so he requires 2 hits to kill him, if you hit the tank cleanly. Now there's one shot, it nailed him, but it bounced. He's angled, I can't shoot him. He goes round the back of me. I've got one tank sitting to my left hand side that could easily hit me as well. He's now sitting in base camp and it's going red. But I can hit him, he's not aiming at me. Roll back down until you get the reticle on the tank and fire. Now, this is a battle, I'll show that, I'll stop there. This is a battle where the players that are in it are all above 100 battles. All of them. The reason for that being is, when you start playing Blitz in Tier 1, you will start playing against other new human players, but you will also play against what are called bots. Now these are computer generated enemy tanks. They follow a set path or a set of set paths in the battles, and they are a lot easier to kill, but they can still shoot and aim back at you, but you will find they are a lot easier to kill and in good practice. The reason for that being, your first 100 battles, all you can use in your tank is basic AP rounds, armor penetrating rounds. You will have no camouflage available in your tank. The only consumable you will have is an auto repair kit, which is shown on the right hand side with the fire extinguisher and the first aid kit and the vehicle repairs. That repairs your tracks. Now that's usually set to, I think it's number 4 on your buttons if you're playing on PC. What it is on touch, I have no idea. I don't play on touch, I play on PC via Steam. Now, as I said, you only have AP, that's your armour penetrating rounds, and your consumables are only your auto repair kit. Now, they have a timer, so once you press it to repair the tracks, or repair your turret, or put out a fire, or heal a damaged crew member like your gunner, or your loader, or your commander, it takes about 60 seconds for that to reset so that you can use it again. Now, if you look below the tank that I'm on, you'll see there's two icons flashing. The reason for that is when you get above a certain level and you're up so many tiers, I think it's tier 4 and 5 above, you can start training your crew. Now, when you're in your first 100 battles, none of this is available. All you have is a basic tier 1 tank, basic ammunition, basic penetration values, and basic repair kits. Your first 100 battles are fighting against new human players, the same level as yourself, and bots. When you get to 101 battles, things start changing. You will then come up against players who have maybe 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 battles under their belt. They will also have camouflage on their tank, which conceals the tank better than a normal non-camouflage tank. These are things you have to remember, and one of the reasons why you should never jump up the tiers too quickly. Don't start buying all the tier 2 and tier 3 and tier 4 and tier 5 once you get enough credits and you've only had maybe 100 battles in your tier 1 tank, or your tier 1 tanks if you've bought all the ones available. Oh, you get them for free in tier 1, but you've bought a tank, you played 10 battles, you went on the next one, you played 10 battles, you played on to the third one, you've played 10 battles, and then you buy a tier 2, you play half a dozen battles in it, or 20 battles, then you buy another tier 2, or you maybe go up the next level of that tech tree branch and buy a tier 3. You then start coming up against, once you get to that level, you then start coming up against players who have got more experience than you, have got more capabilities than you because the consumables available become more, their armour and their penetration values become more because they've been starting to train their crews. You do not have that facility available until you've got 100 battles plus and you have moved up the tech tree gradually. Now, the reason I'm saying this is a beginner's guide, and some things that others have mentioned, some things haven't. As I said, 100 battles you're against new human players and bots. After 100 battles, if you jump up the tiers too quick, you will suffer, because you don't have the experience, you haven't learned the capabilities of the tanks, you haven't learned your reload speed, what your penetration values are. It is better to play in tier 1 until you get to a certain level where you're competent enough that you can move up to tier 2 and then maybe into tier 3. Doing it too fast, you will suffer, because you will, as I said, play against experienced players who are playing in lower tier battles. They might have tier 10 tanks, they might have every tank in the tech tree, every tank available in the premium tanks, because they've played the game for 2, 3, 4, 5 years maybe, and they've got 30, 40,000 battles under their belt and all that experience. But they decide on that day they want to play a tier 1 battle. There's no hope that you can go against a level 70% win rate player who usually plays tier 9 and 10, who is playing a tier 1 tank, who has got full crew experience up to level 7. You'll see that when you get up the tiers later on, but don't jump up there, because you don't have to concern yourself with that for your own tanks, because you don't have the capabilities. So stick to tier 1, concentrate on how to drive the tank, how to use cover, what the penetration values are on your tank and the enemy tanks, whether you can penetrate. If it shows red, it'll be difficult to penetrate. If it shows black or grey or green, then you should be able to penetrate it if you're flat-sided on. remember, angles cause the bounces of your shells, and similarly, if you're angled towards the enemy tank, it will bounce you. But I'll go back to it. Stick to your 100 battles. Stick to your tier 1. Learn what the tank can do. Learn how to drive the tank. Learn how to use cover. All those 3 basic things will help you move on to your next tier 1 or your next tier 2 if you want to move up to tier 2 and you feel confident enough. But don't go 10 in tier 1 tank, 10 in tier 2 tank. Gather enough credits to buy a tier 3 tank. Because when you get to that level and you're up to tier 3, you will then start coming up into battles where you're up against tier 4 tanks who are stronger, harder to penetrate, and you will just suffer for it. Basically because you still don't have the experience, you still don't know what the tank's capabilities are because you've only played 10, 20, maybe 30 battles in each tank. It just doesn't help. So as a beginner's guide, and my advice to you as a beginner, is that A, don't jump up the ranks too quick, the tiers. Stick to tier 1, tier 2 until you're comfortable in it. Secondly, if you're watching this video, great, thank you very much. But I would advise going and checking the likes of Bushka on Blitz, Midzi, Fugit, Skate Extreme, Martin Dogger. They all do tutorials on the tanks, reviews on the tanks, and player replays where you can watch them and see what the players do and what moves they make, what tactics they use. Watching these guys, and my channel of course, will help you in your starting days of World of Tank Blitz. Now, the main point I want to get across is, don't climb the ranks and the tiers too high. Pay attention to what you can do with the tank that you've got until you're quite happy with it. Then move on to the next one. Then move on to the next one. Once you've done the same again, until you start to feel confident in the tank, you know what it can penetrate, what it can hit, how to aim quicker, how to aim better, how to use cover, whether it be hard cover, soft cover. All these basic things will help you in your journey through Blitz over the next 6 months. After that, you should have enough experience to start moving up. But please, for your own benefit, don't jump the tanks and the ranks and the tiers too quickly. I hope some of these points help, and best of luck in your journey. Thanks for watching. And you can finish watching this one where a surprise happens at the end, even with the mistakes I make. Enjoy the battle and learn from the tips. Now, if you look above, there are 4 green tanks left and 5 red tanks left. Now there's 4 red tanks left. He's behind cover there. There's another tank to my right, I can get a shot into him. I'm still in the capping points. They know where I am because you'll hear, the enemy will hear the siren going. So they know there's a tank in the base cap. They will all try to concentrate that. Now that works 2 ways. It can work against you because they know where you are, but it can also assist your team players because they know that the other tanks will be trying to get to base and trying to shoot off base. Sometimes it can be advantageous to the team, sometimes it can kill you off quicker if you get rushed by maybe 3 or 4. There's no way you can cover that. Now, he's doing the right thing, he's sitting behind cover. He was only spotted because one of the other teammates was closer to him. If none of them teammates were there, he wouldn't have shown up. Now, I've hit 2 hits into him, I've bounced one. I'm still lit up because he spotted me because he came through. I went out of base camp, that loses me from the base, the enemy doesn't know where I am. Popped back in, pulled another base point up, and now there's only 1 red tank left. We have got 4. There's one up on the parapets, the M2 light, he's just been hit. I can drop another shot into him, hit the tracks, keep running, he's fired, I can drop another one into him in the front track, that puts him in stationary position, gives us a chance for the other team's members to shoot at him, do the same again, finish him off. Now, on your left hand side you'll see I scored a whole 586, but I got the mastery, because I tracked vehicles, I capped base points, I hit vehicles, caused damage, it all adds up. But I'm playing with a little bit of experience. Players will generally be playing that with no experience and only 10, 20, 30 battles under their belt. So stick to tier 1 and learn the basics before you start jumping up. Thanks for watching, folks.